Hey y'all, I'm your host Mark Covey, and this is Mountain State Mysteries. For 32 years, this case has haunted a small West Virginia town. Unanswered questions, lingering pain, and stories that never quite added up. We've told it before, but this time, we're bringing you something new. Straight from someone who's carried the weight of this mystery for over 3 decades. This is the case of Angela Cherice Gwinn Stephens. October 1st, 1993 started out like any day for Cherice. She dropped her husband Norman off at work at the UPS facility on Industrial Drive in Beckley. Later that day, she had lunch with her friend Paula Hager. But during lunch, Cherie said something that caught Paula off guard. She asked if she could move in with her. Paula agreed, of course. I mean, what kind of friend would she be if she said no? After lunch, no one really knows what Cherie did next. Maybe she went to the gym, ran errands, or went home and started packing a few things. But sometime after that, she went completely silent. When Norman couldn't reach her, he told her family that she left him. As days turned to weeks, Cherice's family started searching on their own. But every lead turned up cold. Eventually, her aunt filed an official missing persons report.
It is me. I'm the one that reported her missing. And I will tell you the reason why it took so long. I mean, people have questioned, why did it take so long for them to do this? And, I don't know how, I don't even know how to explain this. My mother is the one that contacted me and told me that Norman had called her and said, and wanted to know if she had seen Cherice, and she said no. And he said, well, she left me. Well, then, of course, I worked for Sears at the time. I worked for them for 25 years, but I was working, and I said, what do you mean she left him? Well, she left him. That's what he said. But just a few days before that, Cherice had called my mother and dad and them and said that she was putting decorations out into the yard and for fall, and that she wanted them to come to Thanksgiving dinner. So she wanted to tell them ahead of time, so they didn't make other arrangements. Well, so anyway, my mother asked him, said, well, I don't know why she would do that, because, we were planning to come to dinner. Well, of course, Norman had no answers. Well, right after that, he would start, if he brought packages, if he would drop them off at the office at Sears, and I was in there working, then he would always say to me, have you seen Cherice or heard from her? No. Have you? And he'd be like, no, I haven't heard anything. And so anyway, Cherie and Norman never really got along good at all. But once she came up missing, he took her, Cherice's majorette boots and her yearbooks, and he took them and gave them to Cherie. Well, my mom asked him, why would you do that? Cherice would never want her mom to have, her majorette boots or her yearbooks.
Right.
Well, that's what he did. Well, they became quite cozy and friends, I think, right after that. Cherie didn't talk to me for quite a while, and that's why I waited, because I kept thinking, after Cherice came up missing, surely she will report this girl missing. This is her daughter, which was her place.
Right.
To report her missing. And no, she had no intentions of reporting her missing. When I would see her in the mall and ask her, have you heard from Cerise? It was always no, and if she was here, she wouldn't be doing anything but causing trouble.
When officers questioned Norman, he said Cherice never picked him up from work that day. He claimed a coworker drove him home, though he couldn't remember who that coworker was, which is odd. Later, he changed his story, said she called him from out of state, and that she wasn't coming back. I want to back up for a moment. Cherice met Norman in 1991 while she was working at Spartan's. It was Halloween and she was dressed up as Dolly Parton when Norman came in to drop off a package. By May of 1992, the two had eloped in Virginia. Around here, that's not unusual. But I did learn that Cherice wanted a wedding at home.
That was another story. She wanted to get married. I was going to give her my wedding gown that I had worn when I got married the first time. And she was was so tickled about getting married. She wanted to wear it. And she said, but nobody will come. And I said, yes, they will. And so she tried it on. It fit her perfect. Mm-hmm. She looked so good in it. And I said, well, you could even get married in our church. And she said, they would let me. And I said, well, yeah, they would let you get married there. Well, then, I think it was a couple of days after that, she went to Mount Hope Bank down there. It was right down there where, in front of the Crossroads Mall. Mm-hmm. Her mother was working there. And there was a couple of friends in there that she asked, I'm going to get married and I wanted to invite you to the wedding. Would you come? And their statement to her was, no, we can't come because we don't want Cherie to get upset.
26 days after her disappearance, Norman filed for divorce. It was granted on Valentine's Day the following year. As the investigation continued, Norman declined 2 polygraph tests. And to this day, he's never taken one. Officer Brooks said, quote, she's not paying taxes on anything. She's not been in a hospital anywhere that we know about. Her Social Security, the IRS, we've checked all of those places. And since 1993, she doesn't exist on paper anywhere. End quote. Suspecting foul play, Brooks organized a search of the couple's home and surrounding 98-acre farm with cadaver dogs.
Well, from what I guess Tommy was told, mm-hmm. The dogs hid in an old cellar, mm-hmm. An old building out back. I guess it was behind the house. Mm-hmm. It was like, years ago when people would can and then they would put it like in an old cellar, to keep it through the winter. Uh-huh. So they'd have it in the wintertime to eat whatever they had canned. And they tore that cellar down. Uh-huh. They tore it down and they didn't find anything, but the dogs did hit there. Huh. So she was probably once there.
Right.
And they decided, well, we better move her because that's an easy spot that somebody could come in here and find her. Mm-hmm. But when Tommy asked about, searching the rest of the property, well, he was told, well, that's 98 acres. Well, what's 98 acres to a human skeleton that you might mm-hmm. find to give somebody some closure? Mm-hmm. What is 98 acres?
1 month after her disappearance, on November 1st, Cherice's 1993 Dodge Daytona suddenly reappeared in the UPS parking lot.
And I'm to tell you, I know Cerise well enough to know that she had that brand new Daytona. Uh-huh. And she was so proud of it.
Right.
And she took it down and showed my mom and them. There is no way, if she had left with that car, that she would have brought it back to him.
Exactly.
Yeah, she would not have returned that car.
And then
that car has never left here.
Right. How does a car just show back up and no one saw who dropped it off? That's the question everyone asks. Norman later sold the car to a man in Charleston, but investigators tracked it down and searched it inside and out. They found nothing. During the time Cherice went missing, the church the couple attended, Breckenridge Missionary Baptist Church in Bolt, was under construction building a new addition. That's when the rumors started. Some believe Cherice had been hidden in the church's septic tank. A year later, her family sent a letter to the church asking to search the property. Dear members of the Breckenridge Missionary Baptist Church, the Gwinn family and friends are looking for Angela Cherice Gwinn Stephens. At the time of her disappearance, she was living in this area and had gone to this church. She has been missing for almost 12 years. We need your help in getting closure on this matter. The reason for this letter is the Gwinn family and friends would like to provide a free service to your church. We have reason to believe there are some clues of her whereabouts in the septic tank located in your parking lot. We would like to have this tank closed out so we can look for these clues. We would use licensed and trained professionals along with the proper authorities to do this. Please help us get closure in this matter. We mean no harm to your church. If we find nothing, then no harm done, and we appreciate your help. Just another piece to the puzzle that would be taken care of. If this was your daughter, sister, or friend, wouldn't you like to know? We are asking the good people of your church to please help. Despite that heartfelt plea, the church board held a closed-door meeting, including Pastor Dewey Lowe and Tom Harmon, Norman's uncle, and voted against allowing the search.
This is just me talking, but I'm pretty sure Tom Harmon played a big part as why they could not search the church, because it was two of my nieces that went down there that Sunday and handed out the papers to every member or every person that went in that Sunday morning and asked about, they wanted them to read them, and then they wanted to know if they would allow on them to dig in those septics, in the septic system. And the church voted yes. Well, after the church voted yes, Tom Harmon didn't like that, so him and Dewey Lowe went in the back of the church, and when they come out, the preacher said absolutely not. So why? What was the big deal that he couldn't do it? Because he told them, even in, I think it's in the letter, that when he dug, he would put everything back. This is just me talking, but I'm pretty sure Tom Harmon played a big part as why they could not search the church, because it was two of my nieces that went down there that Sunday and handed out the papers to every member or every person that went in that Sunday morning and asked about, they wanted them to read them, and then they wanted to know if they would allow on them to dig in those septics, in the septic system. And the church voted yes. Well, after the church voted yes, Tom Harmon didn't like that, so him and Dewey Lowe went in the back of the church, and when they come out, the preacher said absolutely not. So why? What was the big deal that he couldn't do it? Because he told them, even in, I think it's in the letter, that when he dug, he would put everything back.
Cherice's father, Thomas Gwinn, never stopped searching. Before his passing in 2008, he said, quote, "When I enter heaven, I'll know exactly what happened to her," end quote. In 2010, officers obtained a search warrant for an old coal mining store on Glenview Road in Crab Orchard, owned by Michael Stephens. Cadaver dogs picked up a scent, and a bone was found. It was sent to the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. But sadly, it turned out to be from an animal. The building was demolished 2 days later. In May of 2014, the Raleigh County Commissioners addressed a long list of community issues. But one item stood out: a petition to legally declare Angela Cherice Gwinn Stephens presumed deceased. Commissioner Linda Epling made the motion, secondary by Commissioner Reed. It passed, which that always stuck out with me, that it wasn't a court, but the county commissioners who took that step. So I asked why.
Now, I don't know how that came about, except for the fact that Tommy was the one that had that done, not her mommy or her daddy. Of course, her dad passed away in 2008, but Yeah, that was Tommy that had her pronounced legally dead, because
Right.
he couldn't do nothing until they said they couldn't do nothing
Hmm.
until she was pronounced that they were sure she was dead, that she wasn't coming back.
Right.
And the part where Norman said that she called and told him that she didn't want to be married anymore and she wasn't coming back.
Right.
I don't believe that any more than my dog does.
Hmm.
Uh, you know,
Finally, in 2017, after 25 years, a search of the church did happen.
so they ended up cleaning two or digging for two of the septic systems at that time.
Hmm.
But there was one open. There was one of those septic systems open
Hmm.
at the time she come up missing.
Yeah.
At that church.
Which,
And but it was years, what, 2017, before they ever
yeah.
let him dig in it. And I don't know if you know the story behind that, but he made up around approximately 5,000 letters that went out to every person in Raleigh County. Yeah,
Yes.
he sent them out, and everybody,
Hmm.
everybody in Raleigh County, everybody at the courthouse, every business, everything got a letter with her picture on it.
Hmm.
And after that went out, well, then I guess her and Dewey Lowe and Don Norman got together and said, well, you know what, we better let them dig.
Hmm.
I don't know what their conversation was, but well, I do know this, that myself, Tommy, and his wife, we went to a meeting,
Hmm.
and Dewey Lowe, the pastor of the church, sat there and said to us that he had never seen the letter. Well, Tommy's wife immediately grabbed her letter out of her pocketbook that she had,
Hmm.
the copy of it, and she shoved it right at him. And she said, oh, yes, you did. Yes, you did. You
Right.
did see it. You did read it.
Hmm.
You did say we could not dig.
Hmm.
So why lie about it?
In an article by Jessica Ferris for the Register Herald, Tommy Gwinn said, quote, "We would like to thank the Breckenridge Missionary Baptist Church for letting this go forward. Just another potential place eliminated. This was not our first search, and it will not be our last. This is the end of one chapter and the beginning of another." End quote. Under the agreement, the church allowed the family to search the old septic tank. Tommy later said, quote, "I don't believe she ran off. I believe someone killed her." End quote. As of today, the case of Angela Cherice Gwinn Stephens remains cold. 32 years is a long time to stay silent. If the person responsible is listening, wouldn't you want someone to speak up? If it were your daughter, your sister, your family? If you have any information on the whereabouts of the remains of Angela Cherice Gwinn Stephens, please contact the Raleigh County Sheriff's Office at 304-255-9300 or Crime Stoppers of West Virginia at 304-255-7867.
Where is Cerise? Hello, my name is Tommy Gwinn. I'm the brother of Angela Cherice Gwinn Stephens. Cerise went missing October 1st of 1993. 2014, the Raleigh County Commission declared my sister deceased. Now, as of October 1st and 2025, in the next 90 days, I am offering a $50,000 reward for my sister's skeletal remains. It's none of my business how anybody goes about it. That's between you and law enforcement. I do have a special message for my sister's ex-husband, Norman Stephens. There are some people that would like to talk to you, Norman. A lot of us believe you can help us find Cerise. We'd appreciate it if you'd step out and talk to us. I would like everyone to see this, to please share it everywhere. Help bring my sister home. Thank you.